Good evening, everybody, and welcome along to GRL. Once again, it is round 3 of Season 5, and we are here in Japan for the Japanese Grand Prix. Suzuka, one of the most historic racetracks on the Formula 1 calendar. Could it prove up a little bit of a classic? We'll wait and see. 27 laps, of course, await us, but we've got a few minutes left in qualifying for that. My name is Darren Thacker. Joining me in the commentary booth once again is Mr. Ashley, or Silent Thief, to those who may know him as Silent Thief. Good evening, Ashley.
Good evening, Dara. Thank you for welcoming me in like that. It's Silent Fit. I don't really go by that very much. I doubt many people know me by that name. So, but either one is fine. Not a problem. But yes, here at historic Japan. That's what matters.
We are. It's round 3. We were at Singapore last week. We're at Japan this week. We were at Bahrain a couple of weeks ago. So we've got a couple of races in the books in the championship. We'll be at Spain, then Austria, then France in the coming weeks. But yes, I think Atom is in the chat. He's calling you his former CRL teammate, Ashley. So,
yes, we were. It was briefly, shortly lived, and you know what? I think I say very shortly lived. I think it was about 2 races, but I think I did myself justice in those 2. I think I proved the point and showed that I can go racing if I want to. So take that as you will.
Racing, Ashley.
I'm always ready to go racing, Dara. Yeah, no, you're right, actually, Dara. I'm always ready to go racing because I have been racing a lot recently, just not on Formula 1. It's been on iRacing. And funnily enough, it has been around this circuit. It's been GT3s at Suzuka this week, and I've been loving it. So, yeah, I've been enjoying that quite a lot.
Nice. Oh, obviously, Daytona's going to happen as well in iRacing in real life. So, iRacing on the up, isn't it? Anyway, we are at Suzuka. Of course, round 3. Blade, of course, was the winner last time out. He is, of course, in Japan currently. I believe it's 5:49 a.m. for him, and he is going to be driving around Suzuka. He will become the first non-fully European driver, or first driver not in Europe, to win back-to-back races at the same track if he wins this evening. But the likes of Delta, B Ford, and Dylan Baxter are going to be hoping to put a stop to that. Mizzy as well. But as we get onto the track, with a few minutes left of qualifying, and currently it is Mizzy who is on provisional pole. I think we're just about to start to see some of the final runs get underway. But you can see the order here. I mean, Mizzy and Welsh Jack are 1 and 2. Paolo is 3rd. Sousa and Blades 4th and 5th. But, I mean, it is tight in that mid-back, isn't it? Down from Blades all the way down to, you'd say, Ashim Basher. It's only a couple of tenths there.
Yeah, it's not a huge gap between them there, is it? So, yeah, like you say, the jump from 4th to 5th is where it sort of begins, and then it does tighten up right in the middle there. But, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it pans out. I think a lot of these drivers still have a bit of time left in that lap. I think a lot of these laps are very much banker laps that they've just managed to get in. And obviously make sure they've got a time on the board and they'll be ready and raring to go for their final run. So as you can see, pretty much everybody in the pits right this second, 3 minutes left on the clock. So they'll all be putting on a fresh set of soft tyres, getting out of the pit lane and getting ready for their final run. So it could be shaken up by quite a bit yet, Dara. I wouldn't say that is the final sort of times that everyone is putting in, but well, Mizzy's put in a pretty good lap, almost 2 tenths ahead of Welsh Jack. You'd have to argue, you know, he's got a good shot at taking the pole there, hasn't he?
Oh, absolutely. We've seen him have pace so far this season, because whether he can carry that through today. It was very different track here than Singapore last week. But you know, we'll have to wait and see. Sivertson's on a lap here, and then say he's just about gets out of the way. Was worried that the Ferrari driver might have got blocked. But we will. But I mean, either way, Sivertson gets through. He'll be very pleased about. Through the hairpin they come. Rear end careful about it, stepping out. Stays very nicely in check, and he will carry on down towards Spoon. But I mean, we can see a lot of drivers through Sector 1, through Dunlop, actually. Yeah, they're on their out lap. It's going to be a little bit hectic, I think, down into the Casio Triangle.
Yeah, it is. It almost looks like a car park on the mini-map there, doesn't it? They're all lining up and waiting to find that perfect space and opportunity to jump in. They're waiting for that old lady to just pull on out, and then they'll hop on in and no doubtly annoy someone in the process. But just finishing off Sivertson's lap here, he's up by the 6,000ths of a second, the smallest margins, but it could still be improved. In through the Casio Triangle he goes, and over the finish line, what's it going to be? He's improved by quite a bit, 2 tenths in the end, and 7th position at the moment. It's not a bad lap from Sivertson there. What do you think, Darren?
No, I think Siverson's showing some good pace this season, hasn't he? Really. Been
He
really quite
has.
good at getting the times in and just being consistent in the race. I mean, looking at particularly Bahrain, I mean, until that unfortunate incident in the final sector, he was right up there with fighting for the win. So, yeah, he really has shown a little tick up in pace this season compared to last. Of course, form when he was as well Torpen. But yeah, good things so far from Simpson early on in the season, and with a long season, you can try and build some momentum, can't you?
You can, and you know, you're right. He has made that step up, and he obviously needed to. He come up from Div 3 up to Division 1 here, so he's skipped over 2, if my memory serves me well, and he's made the transition actually quite nicely. I think, you know, he slotted himself in amongst the mid pack, top end of the mid pack, really. So, you know, don't count him out for maybe a race win later on in the season if he can keep that momentum going. But you know, only time can tell with these things, of course, Dara. But yeah, Sivertson, he's been doing pretty well so far, keeping himself steady and going, which isn't a bad thing in Formula One, especially so early on. And that's a retirement. Is that in the pit lane, Dara, or was that on track? Can't quite
In the
see.
pit lane.
Is it in the pit lane? Oh, well, never mind then.
Yeah, there's a Williams dot in the pit lane, so I presume
It must be Gibson
it's
then.
there. Yeah, exactly. But we'll have to see. Time has now expired on this qualifying session. So we'll look at FRC Souza here. He's currently nearly half a
Tenths.
second up here.
Yeah.
This could be a ridiculously quick lap time. Into the 1 minute 25. So through the Casio triangle, through the right, through the left, and then out towards the line. Of course, keeping it as tight as he possibly can to that wall. Can Souza take pole? He's got it provisionally.
Oh.
25.8 is what he has set. Meanwhile, in behind the likes of Sam, he's not got a time on the board. Goes P7 with his one and only timed lap. We will look back for the likes of, we'll go with Paulo Afonso here. A couple of attempts up as he crosses, comes into the final sector. Jacob goes P5. Sivertson came into the pit. In B4 jumps up to 6. Can Paulo Afonso snatch pole? No, he goes up into P2. He gets very, very close. Partik's going to get to the line. Goes P15 here. As we see one of the McLarens, it's going to be Jobbo. He can only stay in P20 because watch the tower. Mizzy stays P3. Welsh Jag is coming to the line. Can he take pole? No, he stays in P4. We'll go back down to Blades here, but he's not improving through the middle sector. A little bit of an improvement there from Ashun Basher. We see another big improvement from Corey at P5. Round the final corner, Blades towards the line. Currently P9 only jumps up into P8. Can't make a big improvement, and it was improvement in the end from TNS Sora to go P12. There is one driver left, and Delta gets a 5-place grid penalty. Oh, I don't know what that was. That was definitely a glitch. Either way, Snuts goes into the pit lane. Oh, Delta gets another one.
Oh, that's an odd thing going on there. What's happening? It's got to be, isn't it? Oh yeah, look at that. Look. If you ride on board with him, he's in a pack of about 4 or 5 cars. Obviously, the computer AI just taken them round. Oh, that's very odd, isn't it?
Yeah, I think.
That's not fair. I think we may have to reset the lobby. We had to do it the other day on Friday. The other league that I do there, so it's not unheard of course. It's annoying, though, isn't it? Just puts a
really annoying.
Puts a dampener on things. You know, it's like pouring water over a flame. Just yeah, goes a bit soggy and there's no action left. Is there?
It goes out.
It goes out. It does. It goes out.
Right. Well, here are your results from qualifying. Mark Souza, FRC Souza now, Alfonso 1 and 2. Mizzy is going to start from P3. Then it's Welchak and Corey. Jacob, B4, Blaze, and Delta in the top. We'll have a restart so that Delta can start from 9th. Shaq will be 10th. Sam, Sora, Simpson, Badger, Dylan Baxter, not Dylan Baxter, sorry. Dylan Baxter, Partik, Jack Imac, Gibson, Snipes, and Jobbo, the McLarens. I mean, they were an early tip for a possible title here in Division 1, but they really haven't lived up to expectations just yet. But as we are, this is what the grid will be. We're going to have a lobby restart, which means that we'll just leave the calendar up to you guys and we'll be back when the lobby is restarted. But stick around because we've got 27 laps of Suzuka, and this sounds like a very tight field. Stick around, we'll be back very shortly. Clear.
When you say we're clear, mine is still live, so they can still hear us chatting, by the way, but it's not the end of the world.
As long as we don't say anything that will cancel us.
Just don't say anything that will cancel us, exactly. We'll be A-okay. Don't want none of that cancel culture. This is now the Dara and Ashley podcast is what this has turned into. So told you I'm in a very funny mood today. Oh dear.
What's your Twitch name?
My Twitch
So
name
I
is
don't follow you.
it's a Titchy Ash, I think it is.
Ah,
I should really know. It's my own damn Twitch name. Yes, it's
okay.
Titchy Ash. Oh dear. I'm having an absolute mare of things.
I'm your 109th follower.
Oh, absolute legend. Thank you very much. Uh,
That's okay.
oh God. Trying to play
Um,
chess games and they're not going well. Oh, life's like chess sometimes when you think about it.
God, we're deep in it now, aren't we?
Well, someone's got to be.
Oh, right. Quit the game.
I'm
Open it
glad the
again.
official stream is not, listening to us. It could just be my audience. They get behind the scenes.
they get the exclusives.
They do get the
That's how you promote
exclusives.
it.
No, you're right. I should. Want exclusive footage? Or not footage, just, well, it's footage at the same time.
Chuck me an invite back.
Oh, yes. Do you not just add the drivers to... That's what I've started doing.
I have most of them added, but like
I was going to
Aston's
say...
not there, Rob's not there.
Oh, I normally
I can
just
just
add
see.
I just normally add the host for the night. Just send him. I just add him on my friends list, and then I've got him for the future reference. Yeah, there we are. You can jump on back in.
Thank
Oh, I
you.
better pick spectator, otherwise I'm going to be taking part in this magnificent event.
And no one wants that. Not you, just no one wants to be taking part in Japanese Grand Prix.
Well, you said it, not me. Well, this is a
Honestly, I
chess
don't think
field.
I
It
know
looks very
one
good.
person who really likes this track, and if I do know them, I'm concerned for them.
I like the history of the track. I think it's very good in that aspect. However, there's just a lot going on, really, isn't there? I have just made a catastrophic failure with my move, and I've just realised it. Oh, that's a grave error. Bugger. Well, my chess game's going down the pan, but hopefully this Grand Prix won't. We'll have to wait and see. Hey, I'm trying to. I want to get better at my synonyms, because I'm not very good at them. And I know
What do you
that
mean?
you know.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean now. Yeah, sorry.
Is it synonyms? Is that the right word?
Yeah,
No,
synonym. Yeah.
or is it similes? It's not similes, is it?
No,
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 it is
synonym. And words that are the same.
Are they the same?
Words that mean the same but are different.
Oh, that. But also the ones you like a da da da. Do you know what I mean? Where you could say like, oh, he's as greasy as a frying pan. Stuff like that.
Oh,
I can't
yeah,
think what the
simile.
word.
Yeah.
It's similes, isn't it? I want to get better at that.
Oh
But
no. I'm in like a little darts tournament. A few of us guys in BRT and BBC.
when you
And
say darts tournament, do you mean real life darts, or do you mean
yeah. But, I mean, it's
right?
literally just
Gotcha.
like yeah.
How many
But
of you are from wherever you're from? You're in Brandon.
yeah.
He's in
What
Brandon.
would you say?
How many of you are from that area of England?
Oh, none of us. No, they're from BRT and BBC. So like a league and a team.
Yeah, but
Like
if you are playing darts in real life with them, how many of you are from that area?
virtually.
Oh,
So like you
virtually.
can yeah.
Oh,
No, so like I'm
right.
playing real, but you put your score in, and it like you can play online.
Ah, that's smart. I'd never
Yeah,
thought of that.
yeah.
Never.
But
You know what?
but you know,
This. Yeah, go on. Sorry.
no, it's like 'cause someone did a ranking, and I was low on it because I had an awful match.
Right.
And I was in semi final today,
Yeah.
and like, I played better, And so the guy who's made like a table from leg averages,
Yeah.
um, said that he had like he was just making a table of leg averages. And I just put, without reading it back to myself, I just literally just put, "Can you work in my semi?"
You really can't multitask, can you?
No, I just actually put that, and then I read it back. I went, "Oh no."
Did you hit send?
No, but I didn't read it back. I was like, "Well, that makes sense. I meant semi-final. I mean, that makes sense. Objectively, it's a sentence."
Objectively, you are correct. It is. Hang on. That's like this is not me showing my age because I never did this. However, back many years ago, they would on over the radio, Dara, if you know what that is. They,
Yeah,
yep, they would play. Someone would play darts over the radio, and they'd call out their scores, and then you could
yeah.
obviously play along at home and write down your own scores to see if you can beat the guy over the radio. Just something that
That's actually quite fun.
just something to pass the time. Yeah, but obviously there's no virtual aspect to it because you're just listening to the guy playing over the radio and his scores. But then there's like pauses in between, so the radio's just silent for like a couple of
Yeah.
minutes where you get a chance to then take your turn. But just reminded me a bit of that. Yeah. I've never done it. Just to clarify, 'cause it makes me sound like an old pensioner, and I'm nothing like it. But maybe at
Well,
heart, but
well, Toby plays darts. But he's really good. Like he plays
oh,
for like county. Like he plays Buckinghamshire.
oh,
Um,
that sounds like Aaron. He plays darts a lot. Dunham,
Aaron
Dunham,
Dunn. Yeah,
Adam
yeah.
Dunham. He played darts a lot. So I think he played for like quite high up at one point. I remember he used to tell me
He
his
got married,
intros.
didn't he?
No, that all went down the pan. That one.
Oh, did it? Oh no.
Yeah, no, he did. He was engaged, and he
Yeah, I
thought
remember that.
that it was the right thing, and then no. And I haven't spoken to him since that conversation.
Oh no.
Last conversation I had with him was about that because I was like, "Oh, how are you doing?" You know, like when we chatted for the first time after what 6 months or however long it was.
Yeah.
I had that kind of reaction with him, and just like, oh, what you been doing in the last 6 months? And I was like, oh, how's your fiance? How's your soon-to-be wife? He was like, oh, we're no longer together. I was like, oh, that went great then. And he was like,
Congratulations.
congratulations. No, he was all right about it. Actually, he just said like it wasn't going to work, and I think he just sort of saw the writing on the walls. So I think he was more happy that he didn't go through with it before it went
All
wrong,
went
if you
wrong
like.
when it's kind of more
Yeah,
difficult.
when
Yeah.
it's kind of more difficult to sort out. So it's fair enough to him. But yeah, so he's back on the market, single, ready to mingle in the Sainsbury's car park. So he's. I'm in a real
He's from
funny.
Norwich, isn't he? That's not far
He
from
is
here.
from. Yeah, I'm in a real funny mood today. Can't. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be shaken. It's a bit
Yeah.
like when
So
I saw Paolo Afonso go to pole position. I wanted to shout his name. I restrained myself from doing so.
okay, chance.
I hope you're ready for a wild night. Anyway,
No, but so because Toby plays darts, whenever I try and
yeah.
play him, it's just if I can get a leg, incredible.
Oh,
I think I've
okay.
only
He's
ever
that good.
taken. I think I've only ever taken 3 legs off of it. Well, no, so like he normally averages.
Well, he's only a stump now, then, isn't he?
He averages like higher than 60. You're looking at more like 70, like regularly 70, which is
Oh, good luck.
difficult to beat. Yeah.
I was
Um.
thinking that's really low, but hang on, that is quite low because you should really be aiming for over 120 every time, or at least
You know,
100.
but he's getting over 70 every time, including when he's going for doubles and stuff.
Right, but what happens when he's just going for big numbers? How often does he get that, the fabled 180?
Regularly. I think his best leg was a 12 dart leg.
Isn't that the best you can get? No,
That's
it's 9,
9.
isn't it? It's 9,
Best you
isn't
can
it?
get is 9.
Oh, God. I mean, this is how little I know about darts.
I didn't know much. I know.
I know how to play it. That's about it.
I mean, it's not. I mean, it's not necessarily the most rocket science sport to
No,
kind of
I've been trying to
get your
learn
head
how to
around.
play handball though. That's quite hard.
Oh yeah, that's big in Denmark, isn't it?
It's huge. The men's national team just came second in the Euro Cup or whatever it is,
Uh,
and they also lost to France. So I know their
oh
pain.
no, that's even
Yeah,
worse.
I know. I know their pain very well. So, but no, they love it out here. It's bigger than football. I think they're
Oh yeah.
absolutely they're nuts about it. To the point where I reckon if you went down the pub and tried talking about handball instead of football, you'd probably be hailed as a bit of a legend. Whereas if you went and tried to, not saying
A
that you
foreigner
couldn't
talking
talk,
about handball.
yeah, basically, yeah. If you come in as a foreigner, if you want to get in with the locals, talk about handball, not football, handball, and you're in. Uh,
You get a
that's
free
how,
pint immediately.
yeah, that's how you do it here in Denmark. Actually, to be fair, most of Scandinavia, if you talk about handball instead of football, you're in. Maybe not
Or
Norway at the
ice
moment because they've
hockey.
they've got their Zlatan, not their Zlatan. Talk Sweden. They've got
Zlatan.
yeah, no, they're Swedish. No, Norway have their Haaland, don't they?
Oh yeah,
The
that
Eng-
hard. Sorry.
the
Sorry.
sorry, the English man that was now suddenly Norwegian. But there we go. Whatever, it
The
wasn't like he was.
Norwegian from Leeds.
Yeah, the Norwegian from Leeds. It's not his fault. His dad was a Premier League football star who
No.
got
Well, until Roy Keane killed him.
obliterated by a certain Roy Keane. He had it coming to him. I'm sure that's what Roy Keane would say as well.
Yeah, to be fair. All right, you ready? I'll bring it back.
I've been ready. I was born ready, Darren. Jesus Christ. Oi, I'm ready.
All right, well, welcome back, everybody. We are here again at Suzuka again, and yeah, 27 laps ahead of us. Everyone's restarted. Hopefully, the grid's correct. I mean, if it's not, well, we'll go
Bugger.
again and we'll wait again. But yeah, who's
If
going to
it's
run faster?
not, it's a real big problem because I don't know how they can mess it up so bad. It should be fairly straightforward, I would imagine. But all they've got to do now, if the drivers are listening, is remember your setups, remember your tyre strategy, and you're golden. I can't tell you the number of times, Dara, that I've gone into a league race and we've had to do something like this and I've forgotten to put the setup on. I'll tell you what, it's painful. It's
Yeah.
painful when you do it because you don't get the sympathy and you don't get a restart. It's you
No, you
made your
don't.
mistake, you lie in it. You made your bed and you lie in it. So it's yeah. Let's hope they all remember.
You don't really get a restart if the game's screwed someone over. If you've screwed yourself over, tough luck. Like,
Yeah, it really
um,
is. Yeah, mess yourself up. It's your own goddamn fault. If it's the game, then well, you may get a bit more leeway from it, but nonetheless, it's even then though. I can remember league races back before you were here, Dara, before you were born even. No, not quite that far back. I can remember league races like back in sort of 15, 14 when the games were, well, 15 especially when the game was absolutely broken, and even if the game messed you up, and this was also before you could rejoin. If you disconnected, that's your race done. You're gone. You're out. It was
exactly.
very frustrating. I can remember the first league race of 2014 of the brand new game on the brand new Xbox One. All excited, UCRC, here we come. I was ready and raring to fight for my back-to-back championship. Got into Australia, ready to go. Disconnect. Great. I'll let you start.
Right, 5 red lights, 27 laps ahead of us. And the last round, we are away. It's Mark Souza who gets a very good start off of the line. Paolo Afonso is going to be trying to look to make the move, but Mark Souza covers him off into turn one, and Mizzy will be trying to defend from Welsh Jack, who's steaming up the inside as they make their way now through the first sector for the opening time, side by side, but there are a couple of drivers, lots of drivers at the back. There's a big crash. Blades is one of those drivers, bless him. He got up early. We've not yet got a safety car, I don't think. No, everything's green now once again, but big drama at the start. But Mark Souza on the soft tyres, he's the only one on that soft tyre. He needs to get away quickly, doesn't he?
He does. He needs to scarper away down the road and try and build that gap up. As we say it probably every single week, I'm sure you're all fed up of hearing it. He needs to get out that DRS zone, because if you are in it, then it's very easy to follow. The only thing I will say though, Dara, there's only one DRS zone today, so maybe, and I think Suzuka is one of those tracks that does suit it very well, but you don't have to be in it, because if you do have the skill and the capability, you can catch up to the car ahead, because one, the DRS zone here is very short, and two, there's only one of them, so it very much does come down to car setup, skill, and sort of tactfulness in terms of your battery saving and everything such as that, as that's the Ferrari of Civicson going up the inside in the 130R corner. There goes the Red Bull of Sora though, down into the chicane, almost clattered the Alpine. Civicson now trying to fight back into the undercut of that corner. The Alpine of FRT Sam has not given it up yet. They're side by side down this start finish straight in towards turn one. Are they going to go too wide? Maybe three? They're definitely going to go too wide. Is Civicson and Baxter. They're still side by side now in towards the S's, and the Civicson wins out on the day. Baxter looks as though he backed out of it right there at the end, but yeah, that was got all a bit feisty into the chicane there at the end, as we've got a few cars now into the pits.
Yeah, I think there might need some repairs at the back there. There was that big incident at turn one. I didn't really see what went on there, but there was some kind of incident as they made their way through. I mean, the top two look like they are away at the moment. 1.8 seconds is the gap between Paolo Afonso and Welsh Jackie. 1.9, it's growing all the time. And, I mean, if they can try and get up the road, yes, you can try and get back with the DRS. But it's going to be difficult for everybody else to try and get towards the front two, especially if Max is going to be early. He's going to get that additional helping of an undercut.
Yeah, he will. The only thing I would say here is Welsh Jack. I'm looking at the tyre compounds. You mentioned Sousa's on the softs, which is, yes, he gets the better getaway. And I think, to be honest, here you go, Mizzy up the inside before they even get to 130R. Will we see Welsh Jack try and make the move back? No, not quite. He's given that up for the moment. I think he maybe realises the different tyre strategies here playing a factor, as we have got a nice differentiation of tyre strategies this evening. But back to what I was saying is Sousa's obviously got the softs on the car. He'll get a nice initial phase here at the beginning, but obviously they will taper off fairly quickly. But I think, Paolo Afonso, great name, he is obviously going to be sat up within the slipstream of Sousa, and he's just going to take all of that advantage that Sousa is getting as well, albeit on a slightly more harder compounded tyre. So he's getting the benefit of the softs without being on it, I think, and I think that's where Welsh Jack's strategy is going to differ, as he is on that hard tyre. So yeah, the gap's there, but I think the difference in compounded tyre is quite substantial here at the circuit. So we'll see how this plays out deeper into the Grand Prix, Dara. It's only lap 3.
Yeah, I mean, with it only being lap 3, of course, you're just going to try and find your feet. Especially, we've had a little bit of a break, haven't we, as well, with the restart. So, a little bit of the drivers just try and consider what they're, I think what I'm trying to say is give drivers time to think, and you can start to overthink a little bit, or you can just try and compose yourself a little bit more after qualifying. So different drivers may have found themselves be affected differently by the restart, but as it is, Mark, Susan, and Paolo are away, so they clearly haven't been affected too hard, but Mizzy is going to be doing his best to try and get back inside that winner. We'll look at Welsh Jack, see if he can try and overtake Mizzy, but I don't imagine he wants to, even if he could. So, I mean, just picking up the DRS every lap, it just does feel like Mizzy's faster for now, so thought you could stay in behind. Or was that Paolo Afonso? It was Delta and Jacob going. So was that Delta getting through on Jacob? Jack should lead up to P7 now. And the person who inadvertently caused the restart is enjoying life from 9th to 7th now.
Yeah, he is. As you just said, he's made up 2 positions here in the opening couple of laps, which is good news for him. He is your current championship leader, and I'm sure he'll look to try and extend that today if he can, or at least keep the lossage to a minimum. I think one of his rivals, B Ford, is the next car up the road, so it's going to be pretty good for Delta if he sticks there or thereabouts. But of course he'll want to improve and climb his way up the grid a little bit further, and he's well within his rights to do so. As in, he is right there. He's in amongst it. So keep an eye on him. We'll see how he gets on, of course. think Welsh Jack could be getting a bit impatient here. He's closed that gap to Mizzy, who almost got it up to the second mark. I just saw it then through Spoon Curve, and I'm like, whoa, under a couple of attempts. So we could see a move on here down towards 130R. Quick flick left of the steering wheel, flat out corner in a Formula 1 car. It's absolutely fantastic to take the corner into the Casio chicane. He's going to sit behind for the moment, but here comes the DRS. Never mind, there's a move for the lead. Paulo Afonso takes the lead away from Sousa. And after 5 laps, maybe those soft tyres are starting to give up the ghost a little bit, as Welsh Jack does find his way past Mizzy in towards turn 1. I'm just looking back at that Aston Martin. Corey, he's looking very racy, and he's just closing that gap back up to them as well. And if these two begin to fight, don't count Corey out. He'll take a move if the opportunity arises to him. You can bet he will.
I think it's interesting, really, that Welsh Jack has got through. Maybe he does think that those hards are going to work up a little bit more now that the 4 or 5 or 4.5 laps or so have now passed. We'll have to see. He's not really gaining away at all. Gap is still under a quarter of a second here. Mark Sousa, though, yeah, I think those soft sides might start to go off a little bit harder than the mediums will. So we'll see if Paulo Afonso can get away. Sheen Bash is surely a retirement. Yet there you go.
Yep.
That's him done for the evening. Not a great start. Just compounded everything. He was last anyway, and he is retired from the race. But I mean, Mark Sousa could start falling back here towards Welsh Jack if he can't get through on Paulo Afonso and Mizzy. I think they're going to look very. He's going to look very racy down into turn 1 with the DRS, of course, going to get through on Welsh Jack. Once again, he's not far away. He's a tenth and a half. He's still really, really close. Welsh Jack's lap, where he's tried to pull away on those hard tires, really has worked out, and we might very well see him move for third place once again. For the lead, though, I think Paulo Afonso is going safe here from Mark Sousa as they run down towards turn 1. Yeah, not quite close enough, but Mizzy's going to take the inside
Here comes
line.
Delta on B Ford as well into turn 1. Delta takes that racing line on the inside of B Ford, slips it down the inside. Very nicely done as well. I think he's put those medium tyres to good use, slight bit extra grip over B Ford, and that does push him up into P6, and he's now right behind his teammate of Corey. Hopefully they'll go racing on together. Sorry to cut in there, Tara. It's just a very good move for the championship leader at this point.
Absolutely fine. You gave me a chance to run a pinball there, so no worries. Oh, B4 though, back up the inside of Delta, and he's got that position back done, or has he? Delta up the inside of the hairpin, but on the exit, he will be B4 with the traction, and he retakes P6 here.
Yeah, he's taking it back. It sounds like you're having a bit of food, so I'll let you munch on down. But I did want to. It's just a random thing. It was I was going to point out the camera angle of the hairpin. It is fantastic to watch cars go side by side through that corner, and obviously we got to see a spectacle of 2 cars there going side by side. I'd argue these two will be championship rivals throughout this season. For the moment, though, B Ford getting the position back as that was Welsh Jack, who's just gone off into the chicane. I don't quite know what's happened there. You don't see many people go that way around that corner, sort of off to the right. Normally they go left if they do mess it up. But that puts him down a few positions. But never mind, Delta's going to go for the move on B4 once again. Down the inside into turn 1. They've both managed to get past Corey there. This is now a battle for 4th place. And Delta has got the move done up in front of B Ford. And Corey's not given this up yet. He's right behind B Ford, trying to make sort of an impression, I think, on the Mercedes man. He's all over his rear view mirrors through the S's here, and I think here we go, we may see a move into the Degners. You don't often see this very much. Round the outside goes Corey. He's kept it within the racing line, so has B Ford, and that's a move you don't see very often. Fantastic bit of racing, well done to both drivers, and that was a brilliant move for P5 for Corey.
It was an incredible move, and the fact that Delta has worked his way up to 4th now is incredible. You know, you've got he started in P9, he's got up to P4 in a DRS cone, which is not easy to overtake, and I mean, he's still got a very nice battery intact as well. So the championship leader continuing to show very, very good form at the moment. Currently up in P4, but he's got work to do to try and catch the top 3. Mizzy inside that DRS of Alfonso now. So, but 2.3 seconds is that gap. Lots of work to do here for Delta, but he can start to carry his teammate up towards this front train. Will Corey want to overtake his teammate? I don't think he should. Doesn't mean he won't give it a go. I think he very well might here if he can, but Delta using a little bit of ERS just to ensure that he stays well clear of his teammate, and they will all carry on single file down into turn one as they start lap 8. Oh no, very deep from Corey. Very, very deep from Corey. Loses one. Oh, what's Corey doing? He disconnected? What's happened to Corey?
It's like he's pulled off. It's like he's got mechanical problems, which is not a thing you can get in esports racing like that.
I think he might have been too scared to pull onto the racing line.
He could well, yeah. He didn't want to get a penalty. It's smart in that sense, but you've just lost a handful. He's 12 positions down now, 17th on the road. Yeah, that's a costly error for him after what a sensational move he pulled last lap, and he now finds him down in P17. That was very costly for Corey.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of the way still to go, isn't there? Of course, we're not even a third of the way through here, but I mean, these are big moments. Welsh Jack is further down the order than he was. He's down in P13 now. Corey down in P17.
Oh!
Big winners. Is there a moment there?
Sorry, there was a big moment. I didn't want to butt in too much. Partick getting a huge tank slapper out of Spoon Curve, giving Welsh Jack the opportunity to now go up the inside through 130R. Partick's going to fight him back into the chicane. They're side by side through the Casio triangle, now running down towards the start-finish line. They're still side by side. The position hasn't been sort of confirmed as of yet. I think Welsh Jack just about getting the better grip out of the exit. And Partick's going to have to settle in for 12. But yeah, he had a huge tank slapper on out of Spoon Curve, and it's caused him to lose, I think, about 4 or 5 positions from that. He now finds himself down in P12. He's still up on his initial starting position, but that's not what he wanted, of course.
And in all that, we saw Sam go down the order. I'm not too sure why, but he got caught up in a bit of an incident. So the likes of Gibson are really winning this race in terms of positions gained. Gibson is 8 places up at the moment. Dylan Backer up 7, Simpson up 6, Delta up 5, Snipes and Job up from the back, 13th and 14th at the moment. So there are some guys that are doing well, given the circumstances, nearly a third of the way through this race now. And it is Sousa from Alfonso from Mizzy, 1, 2, and 3. And Delta is losing a little bit of time as we go through, but it's Delta and B-Ford next to each other on track here, which could be an interesting battle, as B-Ford is the only driver on hards in the top 8 here. So he's got that advantage, you'd say, for him.
Yeah, you'd argue it's an advantage, but it could also be a bit of a disadvantage. He's going to have to go racing in the latter half of this race, providing no safety cars come into play. So obviously everyone else is going to pit before him. So when we do get that crossover period between, in the pit stop phase of this race, B-Ford is really going to hammer it. He's going to have to hammer in the laps. Looking at this, he may even go for the move on Delta now. He's right up alongside. He has got the move done. DRS helping him along. And there he goes, I'm on his way up into 4th position. Obviously he'll now get the chance to maybe try and chase down Mizzy if Delta doesn't get the move back. But through the S's, it's very much single file. You don't get much of an opportunity to overtake unless there is a bit of a mistake up ahead of you. So no, I think B4 will hang on to that for the time being. So yeah, P4 is B4, Delta down to P5 once again. But they're still racing hard at it. But the Ferraris looking very tasty, trying to line up something behind. They're sitting in file, just following along, but they'll obviously pounce given the opportunity in that prancing horse outfit. But yeah, 3.6 the gap, Dara, as you mentioned. It is increasing from the top 3, and I think first and second seem to be trading places somewhat. Paolo Afonso back into the lead. Sousa now back down to second place, but Mizzy just biding his time in third.
And this is going to be exciting, isn't it, realistically? Just to see whether people can try and take at the mantle or not. I mean, Delta still looks very close again, but I mean, without a safety car, I struggle to see how these top 3 are going to be caught at the moment. They really are pulling away at quite a rate at the moment. So, yeah, it'll be interesting just to see. Lap 11, of course, starting now. Can Sousa get through on Paolo Alfonso? No, won't do it this time around. Delta, however, will go for it, I'm sure, here on B-Ford. Actually, he won't. He'll stay in behind be forward and just sit in slipstream. Jake are going a little bit deep as they're on their way through 1 and 2. But it's still the top 3 in the same order they were, and pretty much everyone else in the same order they were as well. But I think pit stops are going to start to come into play in a couple of laps' time.
Ooh, Delta's gone a little bit wide through the end of the S's there. I don't think it's going to compromise him too much, but I think Jacob maybe got a bit excited in the seat of that Ferrari. But yeah, he's having to hold station. It wasn't too big of a mistake, just a tiny bit wide towards Dunlop Corner through turn 6. But for the moment, Delta's fine. He's still holding P5, so he'll be all right with that. But yeah, the gap's still increasing. As you're saying, B Ford unable to close that up. So I think those front 3 really are beginning to run away with it at the moment. Paolo Afonso, Sousa, Mizzi holding out the podium slots. And yeah, they're making this almost look easy at the moment. This is the top division of GRL, and yeah, the fact that they've managed to pull a 4-second gap to the next set of drivers, and bear in mind the next set of drivers is 4th all the way down to 14th without a break of a second, is very impressive. Shows you the caliber of drivers we have here, how close they are matched time-wise, as Sousa, after 12 laps, has finally had enough of those softs and comes into the pits. So he's really going to have to put a squirt on now in order to maintain that sort of, well, provisional lead, really, you would argue, by the time he comes back into the fray, as we just watched Sora there get a move on Dylan Baxter for 7th position.
Yeah, but like you said, I mean, I think this is why strategy comes into play in these top tiers in any kind of league, because you've got to have a good strategy underneath you. You can have the pace, fantastic, but if you get stuck in a train like a lot of these guys are, you've got to work out a way of out-strategizing everybody else. And that is why higher divisions are more influenced by safety cars, by strategy decisions than in lower tiers. Of course, when the gaps are bigger, if you make a little error on the strategy, you don't really get punished as much. We see Sora and Civics side by side now. Oh, no. What was that about safety car?
Oh, we may be getting one. Oh, there's a virtual.
As Sora and Simpson get out of there, contact between the two of them, they're both off their front wing, and they will both get onto a different compound attire, I'm sure. When they pit here, I think Sora had to get the
full safety car. There we go, just as we mentioned it. I tell you what though, this really does throw a spanner in the works for Sousa. All he had to do was wait for one more lap and it would have been perfect for him, but unfortunately that is the racing gods at their worst, you would argue, in his case anyway. But I'm sure we'll see a flurry of action now into the pit lane. Who's going to go onto what tyre, Dara?
I think we're going to go on to hards for mediums and mediums that are on the softs. Delta 5-second speeding. That is an unforced error, especially under safety car. Such an unforced error. Where will Moxie's come out? That's the question. Jobbo has stayed out here on his medium tyres. Not too sure why. Afonso, Mizzi. Oh, they're going to be the only two ahead of Sousa. So that hasn't really affected Mark Sousa too much here. Delta.
No, he's got away with that.
Yeah, everyone's come out in pretty much the order they were. So, yeah, I mean, Jobber is just going to get swallowed up here, though. That's the only issue. I think there could be a collision, but we will also have to wait and see if how well this goes when they try and get through.
I want to know what's going through his mind right now. Why? I mean, if you were Jobbo here, Zara, why would you not come into that pit lane?
I don't know. I'm confused as well.
I can't see a reason behind. The only reason I could possibly think is he's trying to help maybe his teammate, and if he can maybe hold these guys up a bit, obviously, you know, within the the confines of the rule book, all of that stuff. If he can hold maybe the front guys up a bit and help his teammate move further up the order, I could maybe get behind it and understand it. But he's just this to me is just basically, you know, as I said earlier, gave you the. This is just putting a glass of water over your candle, and just putting it out. You're not contributing anything here. You're ruining your race, in my opinion. I don't know how. You know, maybe he's got a master plan. I don't know, but I don't see the point here with this.
Like you said, it really has thrown a bit of a spanner in the works, isn't it? Especially for the guys who are on the hards. I mean, Medium should get to the end, but it's not going to be as nice. You've lost that advantage that you had really of towards the end of the race of gaining time. But I mean, yeah, I mean, Jobbo might pit this lap. There's a strong possibility Jobbo pits this lap. If he doesn't pit this lap, he's staying out and he'll get swallowed up like a pill. But let's see, will Jobbo come in? Will he stay out? Yeah, he's coming in.
He's in. Okay, fine. All right then. That's still going to put him down to, well, at least 16th. Yeah, he can't. He's still losing positions. I still don't get the full. I understand he was right next to his teammate on the circuit when they were probably coming into the pits, because I think they were very much side by side. But even then, I think if you're smart about it, just back off just a tiny bit, well within the rule set, because you can do it without being sort of easily penalised, if you like. I know technically you can't, in a sense of, rules are rules. You have to stick to the speed limit. You can't back off, all that stuff. However, the rules are there's a grey area in there which you can get away with it. And I'm very surprised that maybe he didn't try that, just to sort of stick with his teammate a bit better. But he's keeping well within the rule book, so he's a bit of an angel, a bit of a good boy. In that sort of sense, if you, unlike me, you can clearly tell I'm vaguely up for debate on whether I'm good or not. But however way you want to look at it.
Right then, yeah. I mean, halfway through now in this race. Paolo Alfonso, Mizzi, Sousa, 1, 2, and 3. Will they be able to break away again? Not too sure, because Delta has shown some good pace, isn't he? But that 5 seconds is going to hang over him like an axe, really, isn't it? If he can't break away from any kind of train behind him, I mean, he's going to find himself falling out of the top 10, really, isn't he?
He is. It's going to definitely loom over him like a dark cloud on a summer's day, and he won't be happy with it. So, yeah, he's only got himself to blame, though. I will, on the one hand, I will say to me, it's quite easy to do here at this circuit. Not to say, because everyone else has managed to do it without getting the penalty, but safety car in this lap, but he was the only one able to do it. It doesn't look like the front. It doesn't look like Paolo Alfonso is slowing down. Looks like he was still going for it right up behind the safety car just for a moment. Clearly, I'm wrong, because there is a big gap between them now. So as soon as that safety car is into the pits, Alfonso can go whenever he likes, as he does somewhat become the pace car. Bit of a gap though, back to Sousa and Delta though. I don't know if that's going to stay like that. They're underway. I think they've gone, Dara.
I think Sousa was trying to get a bit of a jump on the restart, but it's really backfired on here. Here comes Delta down towards turn 1, and B4 as well. He's looking up the inside here of his championship rival Delta as they come through turn 1 and turn 2. The medium tyre shot Mercedes car is going to get through here on Delta up into P4, and that could be a very, very important move for B4 as they work their way up through the first sector. Paolo Alfonso gets away nicely. There are 12 and a half laps to go. But the game really is afoot, isn't it?
It is, Watson. It certainly is. I don't know why I'm Sherlock. Oh God, I'll stop. I'll stop. No, you're absolutely right, Dara. It certainly is. Restart there, well and underway, and everyone is still facing in the right direction, which is good news. Of course, we do want to see good side-by-side action, such as Welsh Jack getting a move on FGE Jacob through the hairpin there, so he makes it up to 7th position. Nice restart from him, as Snipes now looking to make a move into Spoon Curve, up on the inside of Partick through the first part of it. I think he already has the move done. Yes, he does. So by the time they make the exit, he's already up into P9. As I think now, Blade is going to try and make a move on Partick as well. Doesn't seem to be getting a great restart, has Partick, through 130R, named after the radius of the corner, as they all technically are around this circuit. However, we do have official names. Well, the official names are the numbers of the radius of the corner, but they obviously have other names as well, as we do know. Who's that? Welsh Jackie's making another move already on Dylan Baxter, up to P6. He's made 2 positions in about 3 corners as Welsh Jack. He finds his way in P6 past Dylan Baxter. He's now going to go chasing after Delta, who's just about, I think, hanging on to the back of B Ford. As the front 3, once again, they seem to be almost in a class of their own, those front 3, don't they, Dara?
Yeah, but I mean, Beeford is keeping them on a tight leash at the moment here. It's Delta that is kind of struggling, it seems, a little bit at the moment. I mean, you forget that Welsh Jack was doing really, really well, wasn't he? And then he had that moment, all that spin, all that coming together. We're not too sure what happened into the gravel at the Casio Triangle. But now he's back up to P6, back to the guys he was fighting with at the time. So he is right where he would have been had he not made that error. Maybe if the position's lower, he might be still ruling whatever happened there. But back up to P6. The chances are present for him at the moment. I mean, the 5 seconds for Delta, I know we've only just come off the safety car restart, but if we stay in this train, Delta's penalty is going to drop him all the way down to P16 here. That is out of the points. We'll top 15 score points. So it's really, really costly for the championship leader. And it's number 4, Mizzi, going for the lead, though, on the inside of Paolo Afonso, will take the race lead here at Suzuka. Mark Souza nearly coming up the inside of the Alfa Romeo driver while they were fighting, but as DRS has now been enabled, it's Mizzi who leads, but here comes Paolo Afonso, straight back on the Red Bull, not going to make it this time around. Well, Jack, though, going past Delta, and behind, they're fighting with Sam, and with Blades. Oh, there's contact. Oh, no, there's big contact, and that is going to be Gibson being caught up with Partick there, I think, as Blades may have come together with Gibson, I should say. Oh, no, with Partick. But yeah, big moments here as Sam is trying to get through on Snipes. He was recovered a little bit to 10th. Blades as well, you got to remember, was right at the back off the start, was caught up in that big incident that I think cost a couple of them, particularly Basher, their chances in this race, but he's back inside the top 10 now.
Yeah, he's had a pretty good recovery drive, has Blade, and he certainly likes it here. He won it, of course, in Season 4, so we know he's got pace around this circuit. And yeah, he's putting in a fantastic recovery drive thus far, and it's still not over, so watch that space. I'm sure he'll make, or at least try to make, a few more positions in the closing stages of this Grand Prix. But yeah, it does look as though B Ford maybe has the number on these guys now. He's sort of, I think, maybe got his eye in a bit better as the race has gone on, and the front three not pulling away like they did before. Now that Beeford is the next guy on the road behind them. So he's right closed up on his teammate, almost pushing him around 130R is Beeford on Souza, but he's certainly looking a bit racier, and he's actually now looking like he may make a move on his teammate, as we are going to have a move for the lead as well. Paolo Afonso back into P1, DRS helping him along as he retakes the lead from Mizzi, and Beeford, though, just following his teammate for the time being. Maybe they've got fairly similar setup to the car. Of course, they are in the same team, albeit equal performance as well. Everything equal, it can be quite tricky if you've got a similar setup car to actually make a move, as the top speeds will be about the same and everything else will be as well. So it can be fairly tricky at times, but Beeford looking pretty calm and quite confident at the moment. Let's just say that.
And he knows what to do, doesn't he, really? I mean, champion Season 3, runner-up Season 4, and currently, I believe, second in the championship Season 5. So he's always been there. I mean, for the last year, he's been there or thereabouts. And yeah, it's gonna be interesting here just to see exactly how he plays this, to try and maybe get through on his teammate Mark Souza, maybe hold back a little bit. We will just find out. Of course, nearly 2/3 of the way through this race now, but the train is as big as it ever was. Top 17, all hooked together with that DRS, as Mizzi's very close to Paolo Afonso on the run down into the chicane. And I think Mizzi will have a chance. I understand what I was going to say, but he's lost a lot of time there on the exit of Casio Triangle. Partick had a spin. Hopefully that doesn't cause another safety car. As we see Mizzi do go for the lead, and he takes the lead up to P1 once again. Paolo Afonso, though, staying close, nearly hitting the rear end of the Red Bull driver there. But Souza and Beeford are still very much in tow, and they are lurking around waiting for a mistake from these top guys.
Yeah, they very much are. Welsh Jack included in that as well, I would say. Before, I think it's Delta, could be the weak coupling in the train. He's now 7/10 is the gap between him and Welsh Jack. He's still within that DRS zone, which is the vital important thing. But for the minute, he does look like he is the one struggling, as earlier he was the one that looked to be prevailing. So I wonder what has changed as this Grand Prix's gotten further along. But yeah, you are right, Darragh. Beeford's currently second in the drivers, 27 points, or 26. It's 27. No, it is 27. Baxter, though, currently P7 on the road. He's third with 26, so he's 1 point behind. So it's still tight at the top, but that's because he's only had 2 rounds that we've completed, so he can't get too far spread for the time being. But here we go. This could be the move for the Mercedes driver. B4 sweeps up the inside through 130R and finally makes the move on his teammate of Sousa. He's finally had enough of following the sister Mercedes, and he's now made his way up to the podium step, and he'll look to hopefully go charging forward and catching the 2 front runners. Paulo Afonso, though, making a move on Mizzi once again, retaking the lead of this Grand Prix.
He is taking. Paulo is retaking the lead here, but B Ford lurking around. He knows what he needs to do. He's seen the fact that Delta's got a big 5-second penalty coming his way, could drop him outside the top 10 here. So big chance at points gaining on his championship rival. You'd have thought that Delta would probably still leave Suzuka as championship leader. But if you can close that gap to anything under 15, really, is touching distance. Of course, we've got such a long season. This is only the start, as you've mentioned. 13 more races after this, or 14 more races, I would say, after this one. So, it's very, very early days, but you always want to be on top of the championship. B Ford is definitely going the right way about it here. Once again, not the best qualifying performance, but recovering incredibly well in the race. That's what he's known for, really, isn't it?
He is. He's an absolute race merchant, as I would word it. It almost reminds me of myself in a way. I always claimed that I was never one for qualifying, and I was always more of a race man. In that, I would very much like to, think that my race pace was where I shined most of all, as opposed to 1 lap qualifying pace. But and B Ford very much is the epitome of that as well. He's never been one. Oh, it's round for Sousa. He's into the barrier at the pit lane. He's going to have to go into the pit lane. He's got no choice. He's gone into the barrier side on. He had a slip out of the chicane there, and he's now having to pit. He's got no choice. He couldn't turn it round. He's going to have to put a new set of tyres on. He's down in 17th place. And just like that, 4th all the way to the back. I can't believe I just saw that. Normally you do that as a practical joke on your mate, but he's done it by mistake. And Sousa's had to take to the pit road.
Not is it, really? But at least he's still alive, but he's going to need a safety car in the next lap or 2 if he's got any hope at any kind of points in this race. And it just kind of relieves a little bit of pressure from Beefball, but now he's got Welsh Jack on the back of him. Don't count out Welsh Jack here for some form of podium, but Paulo Afonso and Mizzi. I mean, this could get very heated towards the closing laps. Beefball could sweep through here if the front 2 aren't careful. They've been very close to each other for the past, since the race started, really, but I think particularly in the last 10 laps or so. So Mizzi, he's got to be careful. Paulo Afonso, got to be careful, because B4 will pounce if any mistake is made by the 2 of these guys. There will be 6 laps to go when they come back to the line. Paulo Afonso, though, going for the outside line here on Mizzi, who just doesn't really find it, but a rear slide from the Alfa Romeo gives a sniff to the likes of B4 here. There's a little bit of a slide again from Mizzi on the exit of the final corner. We'll see him use the DRS to get ahead of Paulo Afonso once again. But the mistakes look like they might just start to be creeping in here, actually.
Yeah, it definitely looks like it. It looked like the rears had almost snapped a little bit there. As Afonso went into the corner, he looked like he'd locked the rears on the braking phase of the turn. It just gave him a nice little tank slapper. It's brilliant to watch, but obviously it's not very fast. It's not the fastest way around the circuit, sliding it, drifting it like that. But the only thing I will say is on these 2 sides is tyre strategy. They're on the hards, B Ford, Welsh Jack behind on the medium compounder tyre. So they have got within the back of their mind, they know that they've got the better tyre. It can be preserved a bit longer. It can go a bit longer than the guys behind them. Of course, they are right up there amongst it. But they effectively, when you think about it, the 2 guys behind actually have the quicker tyre at this point. Maybe not even at this point. I reckon we're maybe getting near to the crossover phase. So, and I would also say that at that point then, the likes of Delta, Baxter, Jacob behind B Ford and Jack, they're also on the hard compound tyre, so expect to see maybe in the last closing phases of this race, the last few laps, we could see the 2 medium runners begin to drop off just a little bit as they struggle for grip.
Yeah, 5 laps to go then. a flapper to the end, and Speedfield is as close as he ever has been. Not using that ERS, I'd say, just yet. Using DRS to keep tabs with Mizzy as Alfonso retakes the lead again here. Lap 23 or 27. 5 to go. Dylan is ahead of Delta, and Dylan are fighting, as well as Blades and Jacob. Blades now ahead of Jacob, so Blades is now the one really putting his foot down, trying to make moves where he can. And he's back inside the DRS here of Dylan Baxter, which is exactly what he needed to do to protect himself from Jacob when they come back to the main straight once again. But, you know, moves are starting to be brewing here. I mean, this is now whenever for these guys in this race, they can't just carry on sitting behind forever. And if they want to make the moves, it's going to have to be soon.
It certainly is. It's crunch time now. We're in the closing stages. Less than 5 laps to go. 4 laps left. I think, is it 4 laps at the end of this one? Or am I mistaken? It could be 3. I can't remember. Either way, crunch time. Closing laps of the Grand Prix. Like you say there, moves have got to be made, because otherwise you're going to run out of time. But at least we do know how many laps are left, as well as the drivers, and we won't get cut short like the Daytona 24. But, you know, moves do need to be made, and they're probably going to be starting very soon, I'm sure. Looking B Ford, he's still just trundling along behind, sticking within the DRS zones of the guys ahead, of course. I think Afonso there actually making a little bit of maybe of a mistake into the corner. Mizzy closed right up, but then on the exit, Paolo Afonso able to just get the drive out of that Alfa Romeo. I don't know how he does it lap after lap, but he does it very well, and he's just able to get the grip where he needs it and when he needs it to just help him defend a little bit from Mizzy behind. So I think it's going to be another lap in second place for Mizzy, unless obviously B Ford will put a scarper to that plan for him and take it away from him. But for the moment, they're just holding station as we do get into the last few laps. So wait for it to all kick off. Fireworks, I'm sure, will be about to set off and explode.
Yeah, yes, they will. I agree. Have to see them very well, of course, with it being the daytime. But yeah, we'll have to see what parts of the track they do decide to explode, because turn 1, the Casio Triangle, even down at the hairpin, all places where moves can be made here. So we'll have to see what will happen. Mizzy sat in behind Paolo this last lap with the DRS, maybe just waiting, knowing that he can probably take Paolo on the final lap here. So maybe just being careful with his time, biding, waiting, and just seeing what he can do at the end of the race. But B4 could put a stop to that. He's got enough ERS to really put a bit of pressure on Mizzy to have to go for the move here. Could put him into an uncomfortable position down into turn 1, but Mizzy, they go for the move into the final chicane, and it's going to be always Paolo tries to do the cutback here, nearly takes out B Ford as he does so. But does he have the DRS? Is this B Ford's chance? He doesn't. This is B Ford's chance to get through on Paolo Afonso here. It's going to be 3 wide. Oh, Paolo, it's a very late move, but B Ford gets 1. He's going to get 2, is he? No, not 1.
Oh, there's contact!
Oh, no. And B Ford is spun around. I think there was, B Ford just slid a little bit wide there, didn't he, into Mizzy. But that has given Paolo Afonso a free run at the lead. Welsh Jack is in second. Delta's third, but it could be Blades promoted to third.
Where has Blade come from in all of this? He's sitting 4th, and he's now right up onto the podium spots almost. He's right up under Delta's gearbox. And, well, with that penalty from Delta, this is provisional P3 for Blade. How has he done that? He's come out of nowhere to take this position as far as I can see it. Blade, a magnificent P4 at the moment after a miserable start to this Grand Prix for him. But yeah, that was I think that was very unfortunate for Mizzy and B Ford into turn 1. It was a fantastic overtake, as I almost felt like Paolo Afonso very nearly put that Mercedes into the wall. Very Schumacher-esque in my opinion, but there was a car's width. He did go for it, and B Ford almost pulled it off, so it was very unfortunate indeed. But yeah, just like I said, Dara, fireworks were about to be set off, and it looked like turn 1 was where the explosions happened. So it's still not over yet, though. Welsh Jack within a 10th of Paolo Afonso as we get into the next DRS zone.
I mean, Welsh Jack wasn't facing the right way at one point in this race, and he could still be on for the win here. 2 laps to go. I think it's probably smart just to sit and wait here if you're Welsh Jack, and yes, he will. He will sit and wait. Delta's in behind him, but that 5 seconds going to cost him dear. Dylan Baxter ahead of Jacob as they work their way through turn 1. But yeah, I mean, it looked like, I mean, people would squeeze to the inside, wasn't he? But then when they came into turn 1, it did just look like B4 just had a bit of a drift wide into Mizzy. There wasn't really much the Red Bull could do. And yeah, I mean, dramatic moments. B4, of course, out in the final lap in Singapore last week and now in the closing stages in Japan. A collision with Mizzy has put him down into P11. So big moments in this championship battle early on, really, in the season.
It is, and you know, if it comes down to the wire, you'll look back at these moments and think, why on earth did I do that? But we don't know how that's going to end up because it's still early on and anything can happen. So, but yeah, big moments for B Ford, and I think, you know, it sort of just came about really. The corner just closes up in that first turn. Of course, you got the initial turn in. It is very much two corners in one, but you do take it as one. The initial right-hander before it tightens up into the final part of it, and I think that final part of it, as it tightened up, you know, I think B4 maybe had a little bit too much speed into it, and it just meant he drifted wide and then drifted into the path of Mizzy, causing the sort of contact. But I, you know, none of it was intentional, and I don't think it will really be. I don't think it will be a penalty for B4 either, as Welsh Jack, looking to make the move for the lead, goes around the outside of Paolo Afonso down the start finish and gets the move done into turn one. This is the final lap of the Grand Prix, and Welsh Jack is now very much in the position he would like to finish in, but he has got a charging Alfonso behind him, and he will definitely be not giving this up that easily. So watch out as we get into the next few corners, and keep an eye on your mirrors there, Jack, because that Alfa Romeo is definitely going to be keeping them full for this entire lap.
Yeah, can Afonso try and come back going well? Jack, he is running out of fuel, but I think he should just about have enough to get to the end here. Blaze, even though he's behind Delta, is in line P3 here. If he could just hang on, they'll come through the final couple of corners towards Spoon. Well, Jack really has built up a bit of an advantage here over Paolo Afonso. Delta could get through here, but either way, he is absolutely scuppered because he will drop like a stone down the order. But Blade is still in the hunt for a podium here and will surely pick it up when they cross the line in about 15-20 seconds' time. But it is Welsh Jack. It's not a man that you would have thought would go win this race, especially after he was down in P11, P12. But he's recovered well. He's picked up the pieces where others have crumbled. And Welsh Jack comes through the final chicane, through the final corner, and he will win here in Japan. It's close to Paolo Afonso, but he's not quite close enough. Delta will drop to 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and he'll settle in 10th, I think. Yes, he will. Just ahead of V4, but it's Blade who picked up the podium. Dylan Baxter and Jacob 4th and 5th. Sora and Mizzy in the end 6th and 7th with Sivertson and Sam ahead of Delta and V4. Gibson, Shaq, Jack, Imac and Jobbo are in P15, and then we have to wait for Partick to finish the race. But, I mean, Ashley, that was a crazy one.
It was. I think that was definitely one of the more eventful races we've had here in GRL, as Partick's sliding his way through a lot of these corners. It looks as though he's having a bit of fun on his way to the checkered flag. But yeah, it was a finish. Definitely it was. Of course, well done to Welsh Jack. It was a very unlikely winner, if you asked me. If you said to me at the beginning who was going to win, because we didn't actually ask each other like we normally do. It was a very odd beginning to this race with the pause, but I definitely wouldn't have thought Welsh Jack would be the one to do it. And like you say, yeah, he really did just pick up where others didn't, and took advantage of the situations in front of him. So good drive, a fantastic drive. He was even facing the barrier at one point. Luckily, no damage, but he took the win, took the ball by the horns, and brought it home. So fantastic race from him in the end, and yeah, and as well as Blade, you know, he's had also a brilliant race. Went down to the very back after that incident, turn one, and he's managed to bring it all the way back to a podium. Very Sebastian Vettel-esque, if you ask me. So he's also had a blinder.
He has had a blinder, absolutely. We'll get the results to you then now. I think Delta's hoping he'll get that penalty removed, but I mean, I'll have to see it just to see. But it was Welsh Jack who wins. Then it's Paolo. I think Paolo actually might be Knocker. We know him as Knocker. Changed his name. Blade's third, and then Dylan and Jacob 4th and 5th. I mean, Delta might come third, but back to see the clip. And then we've got Sora, Mizzy, Sivertson, Sam, and Delta. I will just have a quick look at that Delta clip, and then we can work out what we're doing in terms of interviews. He's very confident that his pen is getting removed. Let's have a look. Um, let's have a look at the clip. Um, because I mean, I have seen it before where the game does just not give you a 5 second when you weren't speeding. But I mean, if he was going anywhere close to it, then it will have been speeding.
Yeah, well, yeah, of course. You have to kind of
Um,
think that the game is going to do it all properly and legit, but we do know that these games can be, they're not perfect, of course. So if he does get it removed, though, he'll be very happy because he'll pick up another podium to add to his collection this year. He would have been on the podium at every race then, if that is the case.
yeah, very, very good race. I'm just going to ask Welsh Jack. Um, is your Xbox name the same? Um, ooh, I mean that is close.
Where, where is it? Am I looking for this? Or
He
is
said he
this?
sent it to me on Xbox, so that's
Ah, I see. I see. I see.
he was momentarily under, but I think he may have drifted over again.
Did he blip the throttle? Because I've done that. It's very easy to do. And then yeah, and then you don't realise it, but you've actually um,
Yeah.
sped.
Oh well, no, I think literally on 50.
Wha- I'll have to be the judge.
He,
I
he
don't have
he
the
was
clip,
literally
but
dead on 50, but I don't know. Oh,
you able,
let me just
is
see.
there a chance? Are you able to forward it to me by any chance?
I don't know. Um,
As a steward of this fantastic racing peak, maybe I can give you a a live demonstration. Uh,
let's just see. Um, I mean, the thing is, I'm not gonna say it's getting taken off because he doesn't go under 50. That's the thing. I think he crosses it at 50.
yeah, but by definition of rules, he is at the speed limit.
Yeah, but
So
he's not. Yeah, oh,
yeah, but the speed limit is you are at the limit of the speed, which is 50. If it doesn't matter if you're under it or over it, as long as you're on it or under, you are by law doing the speed limit. Because you don't see coppers pulling you over for doing 50 and a 50, do you, Dara? Because they'll be like, "Oh, you're speeding." Well, no, I'm not. The speed limit is 50. Well, no, but you're not doing 49. You don't know. That's not how the speed limits work, is it? You have to be doing the speed limit or less. If he's on it, then he's at the speed limit, and therefore, by definition, not breaking the rules.
well, exactly. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's a weird one because he's not gone. Because I've seen a couple where it's gone under, and then it's just kind of given them a drive through when they haven't. Like they've crossed the line at 47 or something, but
Yeah.
he's crossed the line at 50. That's that like he's not. I've never seen that before.
No. Well, if he sends it to investigation, we can have a look at it, of course. So it's yeah. Until I see
I
it, I
mean,
can't judge on it. So it's a. But I know what you mean. It's a very odd one, isn't it? Especially if you are doing the speed limit, and really the game shouldn't be having those kinds of problems and issues. It should be able to determine: are you speeding? Are you not? Get it right. It's not. Come on, game designers. It's not that difficult. Or maybe it is. I'm sure. I appreciate all the work they do, but you just want it to work, didn't you?
yeah. Well, either way, um, I think we're going to wrap it up there just to save us a little bit of time and a bit. We don't know who's coming around. I think everyone else was on PC anyway. So
Fine.
yeah, we can wrap it up there. Next week we will be in Spain for the Spanish Grand Prix. Myself and Ashley will probably be there for that one. But between now and then, enjoy your week, and we will see when we return in Sunday's time in Spain. Right.